and the brothers drink together. Do you want to share anything you were going to share about you and Lauren? Do you want to share it? Do you think you can tell it in a way that is pod appropriate?
No.
Well, just tell us some lessons you learned.
I don't know.
Do you have good? You said you had good communication with Lauren. That's good.
I think we're just like on the same page. So it's like it's not a fight because you're not like against each other. It's like a disagreement.
I was saying I acknowledged Will's feelings.
Yeah, so it's like it's not a fight, you know. It's like you're not like trying to like beat the other person. You're trying to meet in the middle, you know. The goal is to be together, and so not like separated relationship wise or together, but like idea wise, the goal is to be on the same page mentally. So it's like it doesn't need to be a fight. And so, yeah, you just have a disagreement and you talk about it and, you know, come to some sort of understanding, which is sometimes mid-ground. Sometimes it's one person is right and wrong, and you have to be okay with that.
Yep. I think what Tammy and I are dealing with right now, tell me if this brings up any thoughts. I think Tammy is a person who, you know, she didn't grow up with many disagreements in her house. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty much zero. And disagreement for her is bad. It represents something negative.
I feel like that's how I felt before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would say the interpersonal, just like if a disagreement comes up and we need to talk about it, that process has sort of been solved. We've been married 18 years now. Mm-hmm. And that's a good process. And same like you were just saying, it's just like Tammy and I don't really like fight about things.
Yeah.
We have disagreements about things. I don't really think hardly much reaches the level of even that you say is like argument.
Right.
And for sure not fight.
Same.
But I think a barrier, and I will just say barrier and not make it a personal
barrier.
flaw.
What'd you do, killer?
Barium. Dude, periodic table.
Boron.
First periodic table reference of the pod.
Yeah, it only comes around once a month.
And we'll talk about a period that way. And
it's just talking about her table.
And I think for her, so I think a barrier, I mean, I have my own barriers, but this is just something we've been talking about lately. I think a barrier for her, she has a hard time acknowledging, like, I guess maybe a fault. I guess.
In her stars or what?
In stars, planets, specifically the planet Earth, specifically Gig Harbor, Washington, 98335.
Faults in herself or in anything? In
herself. And this is why I'm saying it's in an objective sense, not in a personal. I don't even consider this a judgment because we all have faults in our own stars, in our own planets,
yeah,
in our own zip codes, hoes in every zip code. Mm-hmm. And mine just happens to be in the same house as me, my hoe. And for her, I sometimes think acknowledging a fault means, like, more or less means we're not on the same page.
Right.
And besides, I mean, any fault is not like fun to admit or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Any mistake.
That is something I'm bad at, admitting my wrongdoings.
I mean, I think as you mature, hopefully you learn to sort of like deal with them, but it never like feels good to know you made an actual mistake, not just things you feel like are a mistake. That's a whole nother situation, but things that actually are a real like shortcoming.
What about admitting to a mistake, even though in the back of your head you're like, I was right, but let's get through
Dude,
this.
I never did that.
I've done that in the past. But then the best feeling ever, 3 weeks later,
Killing them.
3 weeks later, they realize you were right.
Oh yeah. I still have recurrent like waking nightmares about, dude, if you think now, if anybody out there thinks I'm a guy who doesn't bend my will for anyone, the way I speak potentially harshly about others, I'll have you know that I sat in a conversation with a family from CLC, the pastor of CLC, and myself, and admitted, get this, not one, not two, nay, not 3 or 4, but yea, 5 times I admitted fault for a thing which I knew was not my fault.
Playing tag in the
no. And if there is anything that reaches the level I would describe as anathema to me,
I don't know if you're saying
dude,
A-N space athema or A space nathema.
anathema or anathema, and it's neither of those two.
What is it?
Anathema, all one.
UN? This is one of those ones I can't even Google. Use it in a sentence again.
Dude, it's anathema to me.
Something or someone that one vehemently dislikes.
Vehemently. A person or thing detested or loathed. That subject is anathema to him.
A formal curse by a pope or council of the church, such as excommunication, denouncing of a doctrine.
Dude, I would love to decree some.
The Pope laid special emphasis on the second of these anathemas. Racial hatred was anathema to her.
Admitting wrongdoing for a thing that I did not, I feel like, I'm not saying I changed my mind later, because sometimes I do. Present me evidence and I believe.
It's also in the Greek a creature or object set apart for sacrificial offering.
That's also me. If there's anything that approaches anathema to me, it is admitting fault for things that are not my fault. Mm-hmm. I hate that.
Yeah.
And yet I admit it for the sake of the common good. And I would say not even the common good. I would say for the good of CLC and an egotistical senior pastor. And
the greater good in the hot fuzz.
The greater good. Hot fuzz.
Crusty jugglers.
Then 5 times in a single conversation. And to this day, I mean, it bothers me. I think strangely.
What's one of them that got put on you?
It was the same thing 5 times.
Oh. They didn't believe you the first time?
This person just asked if I would admit to it. And once you admit to it once, I don't feel like it's so wrong to admit to it another 4 times because you're just making the same admittance. However, by saying it 5 times, you're sort of impounding a seriousness upon your confession.
Interesting.
And that is the thing that I think, if I would have said it once, maybe I wouldn't think of it. But I said it 5 times. And the fact that I remember it was 5 times in that conversation.
Yeah.
And it was like 15 years ago,
Yeah, like
10 years ago. It's freaking, oh my gosh. That's how much I hate admitting wrong.
What do you think about the Spirit of God saying Jesus is an anathema? And no man can say Jesus is Lord, but in the Holy Spirit.
Wait, what? What was the first part that said anathema?
Wherefore I make known unto you that no man speaking in the Spirit of God saith Jesus is anathema.
Okay.
And no man can say Jesus is Lord, but in the Holy Spirit.
Okay, I get it. So we've been going through the book of John at church. And literally from maybe like John 8, we're on John 15 now. And we even took a break over the summer to do the short books, which is a series that Matt and I did way better than our church did it over the summer.
I saw a meme recently where it says Jesus pulled Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John to the side. And I was like, you guys are the real OGs or something like that.
Well, John is, as you know.
The doctor? That was Mark.
Dude, you need to get your a-hole, speaking of a-holes, you need to get your a-hole and the A attached to it back in church because it's Luke is the doctor.
Sorry.
Come on. John is not one of the synoptics.
Right.
And
because they teach that in church.
John,
it's the demons coming out of me.
You know, Matthew, Mark, and Luke have many, many, many similarities. Sino, same. And please look up Sino in the dictionary as a prefix. Please look up Sino as a prefix so we can talk about it.
Busy.
But John is not one of the synoptics. But John from like 7 or 8, now we're on chapter 15. It's basically like he's saying, is Jesus over and over again saying to people that don't believe in him, like the Pharisees that are trying to kill him, he's presenting this weird thing, which is like, hey, you see what I'm doing? I'm doing all these great things. And if they weren't me, if they were just some Joe Blow on the street, you would go 100% these things are of God. But I'm here in front of you saying, but Pharisees, you were doing the wrong thing. And so you hate me. So he's like, which is it? I'm either the ones doing these things, so I am of God. And if I am of God, you need to believe in me.
Yahweh, I am.
But I am doing these things, and you're saying I'm not of God. So then if you don't believe in that, that would mean you don't recognize what God is doing, and therefore you are the one who doesn't believe in God because you don't know God.
Oh.
And it's just chapter after chapter and verse after verse just hammering that point home. It can't be hammered any stronger. And I never realized it until now.
The Hebrew hammer.
Dude, I feel like we're preaching the same sermon week after week after week. It's just such a strong theme. Dude, if you're saying what I do is of God, then you got to believe in me. If you don't, then you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what a coy little Jesus we have.
Maybe I'm not getting it. So he says the thing they said, oh, you're doing these things claiming to be God, right?
Okay.
That's what you're saying?
Sure.
You're doing and speaking as such, claiming to be God. That's what the hypocrites are saying. The Pharisees, sorry.
Yeah. We don't know if they're hypocrites yet or not. Depends what perspective you're.
They are. Newsflash. And so then he's saying,
they're just the ones praying on the street corner. What am I to say?
Yeah. Matthew 6. Matthew 6, verse 5. Right before the Lord's Prayer. So they're saying that. They're saying, oh, you're claiming to be God doing X, Y, and Z, which is something God would do. Healing, preaching, etc. And so he's saying,
let's just say
Jesus
let's
says,
just say of God. We don't want to say claiming to be God.
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
just
yeah.
say of God.
Yeah, things. Yeah.
Like even if he was just a prophet,
And
100%.
so then Jesus says, well, I'm doing them.
You see me with your own freaking eyes.
And so if you don't believing with your own eyes, then you're not believing that I am. Period. I am he. I'm him.
Capital I, capital A, capital M.
I'm him. I got that dog in me.
Then he's
I like it.
Because then he's like, if you can't recognize God, if you can't recognize what God is doing, how can you say you even know God?
Yeah. Better recognize.
So either you better recognize or you don't recognize.
This is getting more and more like a late 90s, early 2000s rap song.
No Vaseline.
Wow. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward to you.
Okay, let's look up SYN.
Sino.
And not Sino, because there is a Sino, and maybe you can look this up for me, because there is a Sino that they talk about in freaking Asian culture. And what is that? Because they say Sino, they'll say Sino Japanese or Sino Chinese.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, look it up.
SYNO?
I think it's SYN is the Greek. SIN, they say Sino. There's some Sino dash Asian thing.
Yeah,
Look
it just means it just means relating to. Relating to China.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It would be Sino-American. Sino-American means Chinese American.
Oh, really? But what's it come from?
Latin. Sine.
Will they get China stuff in Latin?
I don't know.
Dude, that's what I'm asking you to figure out.
It comes from the Latin. It is the Latin word for China. Sorry.
Oh, okay. There we go. That's all I need to know.
SINAE, Latin for China.
Okay, so this person I was training the other day, and I feel like this is okay. I can say this. She was like apologizing for everything, which is normal for some people when you're training them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Sorry, I'm just writing so fast my notes. I'm making all these childish notes." But in her notes, I saw she wrote the correct what's it called? When you have two of something, the correct she was changing the word formula to multiple plural. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word plural.
Formulae?
She put the AE on the end, and I
Formulae?
said yes, and I said whatever you think about your notes, they're not childish because children do not write the correct.
They say formulas.
Correct Latin suffix. Do not plural. Oh yeah, I was like, do not pluralize the Latin correctly.
Yeah.
To formulae. But
Octopi.
SYN as a prefix occurring in loan words from Greek
Synopsis.
have the same function as co.
Synonym.
Meaning with, together.
Symbiote. You know that one?
Yes.
You've seen Venom?
Wait, this is like the 4th podcast we've talked about it though, and you've asked me that same question. But I can't even remember what word. Oh, synoptics.
Yeah.
There, same.
Same look.
I guess so.
Same optics. Also the Greek Sinai, also China.
Sinai. Sine. Sine. I don't know my Latin pronunciation.
But then what about the Sinai? Oh, that's Sinai Peninsula.
I think that's SI.
This is SI.
Yeah, I heard somebody Sinai.
Okay, while we're on the subject,
Wait, Julia did Latin.
It's her anniversary cruise. Don't bother her.
Oh, is she gone effing on the cruise?
Yeah, boinking.
Doing a lot. Dude, I went on a cruise for my freaking honeymoon.
Yeah.
If it was anything like that, there'll be a weird Filipino guy cleaning the room, and he always says hi to Tammy and not to me, and her thongs are like that she left strewn about the room are like the two freaking strings of fabric that make up her thongs are folded nicely upon the bed when we returned next to the Swan.
That's funny.
And Andy's mint.
Yeah. Speaking of Andy's.
Hello, Tammy. That's what he would always say when he'd come in our room. Hello, Tammy. Tammy and I still say it to each other to this day.
That's
we
funny.
go, hello, Tammy.
Speaking of Andy's and...
Here's the thong. It's folded up into something like this size.
The size of a Ritz cracker. Yeah. The tag is the biggest piece of fabric on it.
It's so small you can't even put all 10 fingers on it at the same time, and yet he folds it all up in a nice little...
You know, they write those little names on the piece of rice.
Gosh.
So speaking of prefixes and Andy's, my lunchbox, Tit Mountain.
Okay. I showed up at Will's house.
I have a lunchbox that says it's Titan brand, but it's supposed to be outdoor and, rugged. So it says TIT. The A is a mountain picture.
Yeah.
Emoji, if you will. And then an N afterwards. So Michael said Tit Mountain.
Yeah, because let's say you put it...
Once you see TIT, you're already in tit mode.
Oh, dude, I'm in tit mode almost 24/7, and I mean, once you see it in, like 120 point font, it's even it's even like more like unavoidable that your brain just goes Tit Mountain.
Yeah. So Tit Mountain.
Tit Mountain.
So what here's another wingding for you. Or what else are those called?
That mountain is a wingding.
What else are those called? Where it's like you use pictures to describe words.
Well, there's wingdings 1, 2, and 3, and then there's webdings.
There's other words that I can't think of. Using pictures as words.
Yeah.
Anyway, hieroglyph.
Caveman speak.
I saw this one the other day. Let me see if I can just recreate it for you in text. Can you tell me what it says? There's got to be an emoji here.
Okay, if there was such a thing...
Oh, yeah. This is exactly what it was.
How about this? Somebody tells you, I've been to a place... I'll look at it. I went to a place called Tit Mountain.
Yes.
And they said, it's really called Tit... And you were like, it's really called Tit Mountain? And
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's really called Tit
Well,
Mountain.
don't we have Poo Poo Point here?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. You have a couple options.
Have you been to Titlow?
Titlow Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Low Tit Park? Hanging Tit Park?
It's also a railroad checkpoint.
Now you have a couple options. You could go Tit Mountain is a mountain. You could say it's a nickname because the way the mountain, it's a hill, and then maybe it has a nipple looking what would you say, like thing that sticks out from the top.
Yeah, what do they call that? Like on Mount St. Helens, it has the little cone on the inside.
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, that's Turtle Rock," or "That's freaking Elephant Ledge," and it sort of looks like
Rattlesnake Ledge.
And so you go, "Oh, Tit Mountain," or so that could be one sort of a nickname of what it looks like.
Yeah,
Tit Mountain. It could be like, "Oh, that's a place where people hang out topless," and it's another nickname that the locals call Tit Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a Native American name where it's called Tit Mountain, or it's some last name where like Jebediah Tit and his family had settled for years. And if you just said Tit Mountain,
or also it could be a small mountain like a titmouse.
That's what I was gonna say. There's a titmouse, or wait, isn't there a bird a tit?
Yeah, I seen a meme recently. It's like,
or is just
people will discover a bird and a British bird or something and name it a. Yeah.
If I said I took a hike on Tit Mountain,
little titted warbler.
Or do you think I was saying a joke? Well, for me, you'd probably think I was saying a joke. A person who you knew was serious all the time.
Yeah, if they were like talking. Yeah, if they're just talking about Tit Mountain. Oh yeah, I would just assume it was.
Dude, because if I said Tit Mountain, you knew I was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I climbed Tit Mountain. I freaking summited Tit Mountain the other day.
Yeah.
You know what was happening, but let's just say it was a person who you didn't know.
Yeah. I'd assume they're actually hiking, and I would ask where.
Oregon.
Yeah, I believe it.
Which one do you believe? Or not? Or ABS?
The actual Tit Mountain in Oregon. I believe it.
You think it's called Tit Mountain?
Yeah.
TIT Space Mountain?
Yeah, if someone was... Because like the titmouse and the...
That's what I like about you. You take people at their word.
Yeah. Until proven otherwise.
Right.
Assume positive intent.
Yes,
that's a Starbucks characteristic.
We all have a way of looking at the world, and I think that's the right way.
Assume positive intent until proven otherwise. It's less pressure on yourself.
I think
that's the main point.
I actually think that is 100%.
Now, you're looking at a hieroglyph I sent you, and I was at a bar, the bar, Hooverville, and I see the bartender has this tattoo on their forearm, or on their bicep, right here, where I have mine.
No. This is a tattoo they have?
A real tattoo. And if described to listeners, it's a large...
Wait, don't describe it to listeners yet.
Okay.
No, don't describe it to listeners yet. I have some questions. You saw the tattoo of it on the guy.
Girl.
And you talked to her?
Yep.
Or you just observed it?
I asked her about it.
You asked her about it?
Yeah.
And is it somebody you've seen before?
Yes.
Is it a tattoo you noticed before?
Nope.
Was it new, or you just haven't noticed it before?
It's not new. I hadn't noticed it before. It was their first tattoo.
Whoa. Okay. And it was what you sent?
Yes.
It was like that, but not an emoji, just a...
Yeah. It all black and white.
Is the second part, was it realistic or sort of like...
Just like that. It's just all black, so it's like just black, no shading or anything, just like circle
white.
With the...
Yeah. Okay. And, okay.
You want to know the question I asked?
Okay, and they were let's ask some aesthetic questions.
Same.
How was the kerning of the...
Yeah, same vertical size and width.
Okay.
It's like, cubic.
Okay.
So it was like, it looked like could have been 2 letters.
Did you ask, before you asked about it, did you ask if she likes 50 Cent?
No.
In the club?
No.
Candy
I asked
shop.
one question.
Candy shop.
Nope.
Can I take you to the candy shop?
Nope.
She didn't have a matching one that said unit.
No.
Did you ask her if? Wait, who's that guy from Family Guy? The giggity guy?
Oh, Quagmire?
Yeah. Did you ask her if she's a fan of Quagmire?
Nope.
Okay. What Will texted me is a capital letter G
Mm-hmm.
and an emoji of the planet Earth,
Correct.
which I would say globe.
Right. So yeah, so since it's emoji, it's colored. Now imagine it just black and white tattoo.
Wait, hold on. How much does she weigh?
Average, not skinny.
She doesn't weigh like 500 pounds?
No.
And you couldn't phonetically girth?
That's what I asked her.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I said, what's your tattoo? Is
Because
that?
all I was thinking so far was like, good globe.
Oh yeah, I was.
And then I thought, girth.
No, I just saw it. The second I saw it, I said girth,
That's hilarious.
and I go,
the G just has my brain going globe.
yeah,
Because it's G. Plus, it kind of looks like, when there's a globe, like a globe you have like on a desk or something.
Yeah.
It has the thing on the outside so you can spin it,
Yep.
and it kind of has a G look to it.
Yep. So I said, that two on your arm. That's girth.
Oh my god, she's gonna kill herself.
And she goes,
She used to be big.
she goes, no. She goes, no. It's like go explore the world. That's a O with the Earth map inside of it. And I said, so has anyone ever else asked you that before? She said, no.
There wasn't.
I'm the first person in her life to say girth.
Okay, so how about this? I know you're going to say no to this, but I still want to ask it. So the G has a certain...
Boldness to it.
Yes. The font width of the G is a certain pixel width.
Yeah.
And was there an outline of the globe and or Earth
Yes.
that had a similar...
Yes.
Was it thin or was it thick?
Matched.
But thick?
The thickness of the G strand, the G string, matched the thickness of the globe line.
Was it very thick, though? Because if it was very thick, then I might be on her side.
Here's what it
But if it's not thick...
it needed a black outline of the globe and a colored or gray globe details on the inside. Here's the problem
on the inside of the O, was there a white barrier? Okay,
No.
there we go. There was no
the
white
map
barrier
attached to the outside and just all the same color and everything. No separation. So it's just G Earth. She said no one ever asked her before.
She will never stop thinking of that.
I ruined her life.
You ruined her life.
She
Oh
just has
my
girth
gosh.
on her bicep. Inside bicep girth.
You know what would be... No, I wouldn't say
I thought it was clever. I wasn't against it.
Chubby chaser, maybe. Any
Or she just likes a girthy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, we could say chubby chaser, or we could say chubby chaser, and there's no distinction made.
Pringle can.
And so maybe girth is out there. Maybe
Yeah.
there's girth out there for her, and it's somewhere on the globe.
Yeah.
Anywhere there's girth, she's gonna find it.
Yeah. But I was like blown away by that.
For some reason, I was thinking. For some reason, and this is not.
I mean,
this,
that proved her point that you didn't think of girth at first without asking
and
all
this
the
is
questions.
just me. I was just for some reason, I was thinking I'm gonna find a fat lesbian somewhere in the world. I wasn't even thinking penis.
Oh, you weren't. That's what I was thinking.
No, I was thinking this lady is like, hey. Well, first of all, I think she wasn't thinking this was a bad tattoo. But if it said girth and there was an earth on there, I would think, hey, I don't know why I didn't think male penis. Maybe because I don't have male penis on the brain.
Yeah. Like, I'm not kidding you. I saw it. And
Unless it counts as my own, but then yes. But
I saw the
besides my
tattoo,
own.
and in the same breath and iota of time, I thought to myself, girth. There was not like a questioning, you know. I was like looking at, the wall right there, and it's white. That's the time it took for me to think girth.
That's weird because I said, I thought globe.
But see, you're looking at a colored emoji. That's what changes
exactly.
it.
And it's shaded, so it has some like 3D-ishness to it.
Hers,
hers is 2D.
to her benefit. There was it's a black line around the O, which is the same size as the G, but the mapping is just fully connected to the line with no separation, no color difference, no anything. And so it just looks like G Earth.
Just a simple white barrier in between the two.
Yeah, one little just.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking. She has a crisis of.
She just needs to get it colored in.
She has a no. She has a crisis of faith about it. What she does is she goes and lasers a circle in the middle.
Yeah.
Somebody with a good steady hand laser. You might want to go to Jessica.
Have you heard it?
I
the
forget.
Laser. It goes in clicks.
There's somebody who's in Declan's class. Their mom does salt water or something, laser removal.
Never heard of that.
Salt water? I think it's something weird. The nurse tattooer or something. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But she's cool and she's nice. And she's the one who lost a bunch of weight. And she's the one who her husband came. He lost a bunch of weight. And I said, I can't be the fat dad in class now.
Yeah.
So I got to drop some LBs, which I haven't been doing, but I've been back. And I need to talk about my general appearance on the next pod.
Real quick, because I was thinking about this, and you said you were going to the gym and stuff. Hand situation?
Negative. I have let's talk about all things physical on the next week. I have an update. I have a bad update.
Uh-oh. So tune in, ladies and gentlemen. If you're on the edge of your seat thinking about girth and physicality and the human anatomy,
Sino.
Tune in next week for all things Michael's physical updates.
No, don't say that. People aren't going to tune in. I did vasectomy for 12 weeks and now they didn't return.
I'm just kidding. Was that our peak 72 listeners? Have you checked? Besides Bill Hader episode.
I'll check. Well, I also found out that when Nate was on the pod and he said like a shortened version of in-betweener. I'm like an in-betweener kind of guy is the word tweener.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently that's like some sexual term or something.
Twink.
No.
Something like that, but tweener.
Worse than that.
Pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I associate that with twink.
No, twink is just no. Twink,
A childish man.
No, not childish.
Yeah. Small, skinny,
small, thin.
No,
there's nothing child about it. You curve.
Listen, if you like it all bald like a Barbie doll down there, and you want it to be as small as possible, you want it to look like a kid. That's what I'm saying. Hot take.
No. I think Twink as fully grown man just has a vibe.
No,
It's like
Twink is barely a man.
no,
vibe.
there's bear, there's otter, there's
Yeah,
freaking
and
whatever. I don't know whatever other ones there are, and there's Twink. But you're all just talking about fully grown males.
You'd like to think so.
I'd love to think so. Speaking of G Globe,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking about all the time.
Yeah, I think Twink is like
Dude.
the
I'll do some research in the next 2 weeks and get back to you.
the minimum
I'm gonna check my
of
search.
a man.
I don't think so. I'm gonna check my search history and get back to you.
UrbanDictionary.com.
No, that doesn't count.
Okay, I'll just Google Twink.
Yeah, Google it.
All right, tune in next week for Twink Talk and Michael's physical updates
No, I told you not to say that. We have Jeffrey
and other stuff.
comedy show recap.
We didn't even talk about that.
I know.
That's the main thing. Comedy
Yeah,
show recap.
My physical thing is no.
New York comic via the Midwest. Jeffrey Asmus update.
Thank you.